When I was growing up, I had no idea that this is what I was going to be doing. I thought that I was going to be an aerospace engineer. I wanted to be an astronaut, and I came out to the University of Colorado to do that. It's one of the top aerospace engineering schools, and while I was in college, I spent a little bit of time in a low-income community here in Denver called Sun Valley. In Sun Valley, I realized that I knew next to nothing about poverty. And I knew next to nothing about people who were different from myself. It was a huge eye-opening experience because I realized that people in poverty were way more like me than I thought they were. There were a lot of external differences, but the internal differences were relatively minimal. They weren't really there. I got to live with a family who had a lot of the same struggles that my family had growing up. And I started to realize there's a lot of work that needs to be done to bridge the affluent and impoverished communities in this country. It didn't have only to do with what people could afford, but also the types of problems that they encountered in their day-to-day life that were different than the problems that I encountered in my day-to-day life, but had the same angst, the same frustrations, the same difficulties that I had faced growing up. So it was for the first time I understood those disruptive structural elements of poverty. And I said, there's got to be something better, because the individuals that I encountered, the people that I walked alongside and learned from in Sun Valley were really interested in the same things that I was, providing for their families, focusing on their future, focusing on ways to have dignity. And so that experience in Sun Valley in college changed my life. And it really operationalized the gospel by really understanding more about what Jesus was saying when he said, "Blessed are the poor." I don't even know if I'd ever really considered that statement before, much less tried to understand it. And in between there, I had a short stint at a logistics company where I got to see firsthand people who were temps, temporary hires, who didn't have opportunities because they had a background or because they had something in their past that was preventing them from being hired on full-time. And I saw firsthand how those people were often treated differently in the workplace, and I wanted to have an opportunity to give them a more dignifying way to go about their work and contribute, add value, and feel like they were adding value. I got a business degree after that because I wanted to use the power of business for social good and social impact.